Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and the Houston Rockets are back. I don't want to jump the gun all the way, but the Houston Rockets have looked amazing in their first two preseason games. I don't want to get into too much of the first preseason game against the Pacers. The Pacers were not playing a lot of their great players. I mean, they played a couple of their, decent players. They played Bruce Brown, they played Obi Toppin. Both of those guys made their Pacer debuts. They played Jerice Walker. They played Benedict Majorin. Some of their other guys on their roster. No Halliburton. Rockets looked good as a team, won by 19 points. But I'm gonna get into last night's win over the New Orleans Pelicans, 120-87. Because the Pelicans did play all their players. The only players that did not play were the players that were not able to play. Those are a couple of the players for the Pelicans off the bench, like Jose Alvarado, Larry Nance Jr., and Trey Murphy Jr. as well, or Trey Murphy II, who are all injured right now and should miss the first week or two of the season for the Pelicans. So all those players are currently injured for the Pelicans, but all of their starters played 22 minutes or over 22 minutes, and we're talking about Herbert Jones, who's a very solid defender and a good offensive player, just got a huge deal with the Pelicans extension. And also you have Jonas Valanciunas, one of the best big men in the league. You got Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, two multiple-time All-Stars. And you also have CJ McCollum, an also All-Star and a great three-point shooter. And so, yeah, that's your starting lineup. Those guys played minutes. The Rockets starters, they had a couple starters who didn't play that much. I think Dillon Brooks played 22 minutes, and Fred VanVleet only played 16 minutes. But this Rockets team, when their starters were on the floor and the Pelican starters were on the floor, the Rockets outperformed the Pelicans. And they outperformed them in every category. Three-point shooting, steals. The Rockets had 18 steals. Their defense is going to be incredible. In the first two preseason games, the Rockets have 28 steals and 8 blocks. Their defense is going to be very good this season. I think they're going to be one of the best defenses in the NBA. They outperformed the Pelicans really on everything. And they're going to be a lot better than people think. I'm sorry. They're just going to surprise a lot of people. You got a lot of talent on this team. You got the young talent. You this Smith Jr., who scored 22 and 8 last night. Went off in the summer league. Scored 14 and 7 the night before. This night compared to the last night. Against compared to the Pelicans Pacers game, he played a little bit more, took more shots. But he's looked great in the first two preseason games with 14 and 7 and 22 and 8. And I really, really would love, to see more, offensively of Jalen Green. He's been a guy who's not been big offensively in the first two preseason games. I believe he has 21 points in the first two preseason games. His shot has been a little bit off. I want to see more from him offensively. Alperen Sengun, a guy who, defensively last year for the Houston Rockets was terrible. Not a great defender. Averaged 1 steal and 1 block per game, but perimeter defense, defending was not a good category for Sengun. And he has had 4 steals in the last two preseason games and 3 blocks in the last two preseason games. And he said one of the biggest things he worked on in the offseason was defense. And that's one of the biggest things he wants to improve on going into this next season. And he's another guy I really am excited to see, not only offensively this year for the Rockets, but defensively. Then you add in guys like Dillon Brooks and Fred VanVleet, who will be big to this starting lineup. Brooks, who averaged 14 and 3 last year with the Memphis Grizzlies, is a former All-NBA defender. And you added in Reggie Bullock Jr., who was a starter for most of the year for the Dallas Mavericks. I think he played in 78 games last year and started 63. He's a great three-point shooter. That's another thing I love about his addition. The Rockets were terrible at three-point shooting last year. He shot 38% last year. You got another guy in Tari Eason, just like Jabari going into his second season. Tari last year averaged 9 and 3. Tari is improved. He's a good defender. He's a good three-point shooter. Shot 34% in his rookie season. I think Tari's going to be great for the Houston Rockets in his second season. I know this guy is not going to be a great, he's not going to be a huge impact on the floor, but Jeff Green will be a huge impact to the Houston Rockets off the floor as a veteran experience going into his I believe, 18th NBA season. And Jeff Green can still hoop. He averaged 8 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, and 1 assist per game last season with the Denver Nuggets. Shot 29% from three, although he used to be a very good three-point shooter. But I believe that, but he wasn't taking a lot of three-pointers because he only took 100 attempts. But I believe with Jeff Green, once, now he started to get a little bit older, his, as he started to get older, his three-point shot has gotten a little bit worse. But he will be a great impact to the Houston Rockets as a mentor and as a veteran to these young guys. You add in Aaron Holiday, who provides more depth to the to the point guard and the shooting guard position. He's a great three-point shooter. And like I said, with adding in the Reggie Bullock and Fred VanVleet to three-point shooting, Aaron Holiday brings that as well. He is another terrific three-point shooter. He shot 41% from three last season with the Atlanta Hawks, and he will be a great addition. But probably won't play that much because of the depth that this team has. But another guy they added in, you see added in, you hear that name a lot, or you hear that word a lot. Jock Landale, the backup center from the Phoenix Suns, averaged 7 points per game and 4 rebounds per game. He's a very good defensive center. And if Alperen Sengun, I know he's been good defensively last 2 games, but if he doesn't live up to that hype defensively, Jock Landale will be great defensively for the Houston Rockets as a backup center. I love his addition from Phoenix. We signed him to a 4-year, $32 million deal. You also have Jae'Sean Tate. He's a guy who only played, I believe it was 26, 25 games last season in his 3rd season, dealt with injuries. Jae'Sean Tate was a big impact for the Houston Rockets in the 2020-21 season and the 2021-22 season as a starter, and was not healthy at all in the 2022-23 season. Having him back this year, he'll be coming off the bench. Well, he'll be a great. He's not an addition, but it'll be great to have him back, and I feel like it will be like sort of an addition for this team. He averaged 9 and 4 last year when he was healthy, with 3 assists. And then also you got your draftees. Amen Thompson in the first round, 4th overall pick. He will be great offensively as a facilitator and a point guard. Offensively, don't know how much he'll do. Shoot that shot is the biggest thing when it comes to Amen Thompson. I believe that his three-point shot will have to develop, and really his shot in general. But, he'll be aggressive in the paint. His mid-range shot will be okay, and he'll be a good facilitator. He'll be mainly a great defensive player. He's a great defender. He averaged, I believe, 3.5, 4 steals with overtime elite last year. I think it was 3, or maybe it was near 3 steals last year. He's a great rebounder for a point guard, and I think he'll be a great addition off the bench. Also, you got your other guy that you drafted, and that's Cam Whitmore. Last year at Villanova was great, averaged 15 and 7. He's a great defensive player as well. He's a great three-point shooter that will help with, how bad you were three-point shooting-wise in last season's campaign. And adding in a guy like Cam Whitmore will be great to this team's shooting. And, he's going to be great defensively. He's going to bring in a lot of intensity, and I think he will be a very good addition. I think he'll be a front runner for Rookie of the Year. I think he finishes 4th in the Rookie of the Year votes, and I think he's gonna have a big rookie year. And then one of your biggest additions throughout the offseason, but if you take away Cam Whitmore, you take away Amen Thompson, you take away Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. Or actually, I don't even think you have to add in Dillon Brooks. Take away Amen Thompson and Fred VanVleet. Your next biggest addition to the offseason is head coach Ime Udoka. Finally having a head coach who is going to mentor these guys, and not only that, but be firm on them, try to help and fix the mistakes, I think will be key and will be way better than Stephen Silas. And not only that, I think this team last year was trying to lose. I don't think they would have been much better if they were trying to win. Ultimately, I think the Rockets would have probably won maybe 28 to 32 wins if they were trying to win. That's not great, but that is still about 6 or 10 more wins than they got in last season. I think they were trying to lose. Ultimately, I think the Rockets were trying to land Victor Wembanyama and sign James Harden. Ultimately, the Rockets got 4th overall pick. Plans change. They bring in Ime Udoka, they draft Amin Thompson, and they sign Dylan Brooks. And Fred VanVleet. And I think this team's going in the right direction. Right now, I see them finishing as the 11th, 10th, or 9th seed in the Western Conference. Wouldn't surprise if maybe they slid into that 8th seed and make the playoffs. But ultimately, I'm not going to take too much into preseason. I can't wait to see what this team does when they hit the floor October 25th against the Orlando Magic. But yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Rockets.